From chipping, Richard asked the question about Phil Mickelson, what he said about hinge and hold. You got to be careful. So what are you holding and what are you hinging? So what Mickelson does is he hinges his wrists, and what he does is he holds the relationship of the club head to his hands. So the club head never moves past his hands. But the reality is, if I hinged my wrist, and I held the hinge in my wrist, and I didn't let my wrist unhinge to let the club go to the ground, what would happen? Okay, so I hinge. If I held the hinge and turned through, I'd miss the ball. How are you gonna hit the ball? So if you hinge your wrist and you don't let your wrists unhinge, how do you hit the ball? Well, you can't. So Mickelson, when he sets his wrists unhinge and he runs the club into the ball, but the club head doesn't pass his hands. So this is what he's holding off. He's holding off the club going past his hands. He's not holding off the unhinging of his wrists. Because if your wrist didn't unhinge, if you hinged your wrist and they didn't unhinge, the club wouldn't get to the ball. So the club head stays in line with his hands this way, so it doesn't do this, but his wrist's still unhinged because that's the only way the club's gonna get down to the ball.